Hi, it's what day?
It's 7:17. Good evening.
It's Tuesday yes, you're right. It's the 21st of July, and welcome to Geeks on Screen with Coffee, and welcome to today's guest. It's Jess. So there we go. I've forgotten what order I'm supposed to do this in. Actually, I was
Looks
gonna.
good.
Is it backwards for you, or is it the right way around?
No, it looks good.
Okay.
Yep.
In fact, the microphone's in the way, so I should have done that. Now I'm going to, while I was doing the lettering, that sounds wrong, doesn't it? I was wondering, is that French? Pomfret.
So everyone asked me that, and I don't know. I'm not sure. The only thing I know about it is that one day I was doing a word search, as you do, and it was a sea life word search, and I found pomfret in the word search because it's actually a kind of like flat fish. And I was like, that's when I knew I made it, because I was in a word search.
And so pomfret is a flat fish. Well, I've learned every day's a school day. Right? So let's sync sound and vision. There we go. Sorry, you got to get it all in. There we go. And hit the mic while I'm doing it because I'm professional and I do that kind of thing. So welcome to Geeks on Screens with Coffee. And
yeah, thanks for having me.
What are you drinking?
You're going to be disappointed because I just have water, but I have it in this like fancy jar. So I'm kind of cool. So.
You're a hipster.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say hipster and I was like,
No, you can. There we go.
Okay, cool.
And I've got mine in a Redgate mug.
Nice. Is it coffee?
Yeah, it's coffee. It's brown stuff. It's got a bit. I need a coffee machine up in the room because I get this like 20 minutes before we start, and it's getting cold.
Yeah. See, that's the good thing about water. It's just room temperature.
Yeah. Not when you've got a studio set up with a light here and a light here that's heating everything up. I've also put a piece of paper over the top of the laptop fan because it's coming up and hitting me in the face.
Oh man!
It's not. So how are you? How's your lockdown? And do you want to just actually introduce yourself? Just tell people who you are, what you do.
Yeah, I can try that. So Jess Pomfret, I'm a database engineer. Mainly SQL Server, a splash of Oracle, and a lot of PowerShell. My main passion is automating things with PowerShell. So if I have to do it once, there's a high possibility I'm going to try and automate it. So.
All right. Well, you mentioned Oracle. We'll talk about Oracle then. So. Oh
man.
What? What's wrong with Oracle?
Nothing.
You know what? It's a long story, but I like different stuff. So you live down in Southampton, so I've got a bit of a bone to pick with you.
Oh man!
Well, I used to run used to call it SQL Southampton, but it's probably called the Southampton Data User Group or whatever it's. I don't know. Steph and John now run that, and I never saw you there.
Right.
Now,
well, I've only been in Southampton since January, and I think you left before that, huh?
Oh yeah, I left several years before that.
Yeah.
So what have you been up? What were you doing before then? Why couldn't you make it to my user group?
So I just moved to Southampton. Well, actually, I just moved back to England from America. I was living in Ohio. My accent is all over the place, but I'm actually from England originally. I grew up in Chippenham in Wiltshire, and in 2005, I moved to Ohio. I went to the University of Akron. They said I could go there and play football every day, and that I had to choose something to study. But I went there to play football mainly, and then I stayed. And just in January, I got a job back in Southampton and decided to move with my wife and 2 cats and very few possessions back to England. So I couldn't quite make a user group because of the commute.
Well, all right, I'll let you get away with that one, but this time, okay.
Yeah.
This time.
Well, maybe you can come back down here for a session or something.
Yeah, I keep meaning to, but I don't want to go back. No, I'd love to come back. Hey, we've got remote, haven't we?
Yeah, they're doing a remote data platform, Southampton data platform. I think it's the first Wednesday of the month. I should look that up, but yeah, they've been remote.
So actually, football. So what you were playing? What football? That's why you went
football, soccer.
So sheer.
Football. There was some confusion.
Okay. So you went to play football. So just talk me through that. So what, it was a scholar. I mean, I don't know, scholarship type thing, or
it was. Yeah, they. I was playing football here in an academy in Bristol. It was partnered up with Bristol Rovers, and then after that was like college here, which is not the same as college in the States, but the after secondary school bit of college before you go to university. So I played for Filton College for 2 years. And then I got scouted basically. My coach in Bristol knew my coach in Akron, and she came over and watched me play a couple times and offered me a scholarship. So packed my bags in 2005 and moved to. I'd never been to America before, so just moved over there to play football every day.
And leaving your family and friends and stuff behind, and just bye. I'm off to play kickball in the US of A.
Yeah, well, I was pretty convinced I was going to become a professional and play for England, all that stuff. So I had to follow the dream.
Well, of course. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, at that age, kind of, you've got to have a goal. You wouldn't go if you didn't think you were going to. So kind of, how does that work? I mean, I've got no kind of background, no knowledge of that. So how does that?
So the college sports in the States is huge. Like women's football here is much bigger now, but when I was playing in 2005 is when I started in Akron. So before that, here it was getting bigger, but there was no money in it, and there was no one playing professionally at that time. So they offered me basically to pay tuition and to pay basically to live in America and play football every day and get my degree, which I had decided I was not going to go to university in England. I had a pretty great job at Burger King, and I was pretty happy with that. I didn't want to go to university. So the downside was I moved to the States, but I think my parents were both glad that I did decide to go to university. So they train every day out there and play games. We played 2 games a week for 4 years. You get 4 years of eligibility. So, yeah. And
so what was your degree in then?
So I had no idea what I wanted to study, and I changed it like 3 times while I was there, but it is now in information systems and e-business. So it was like computer science, but more business rather than all technical. So
all right.
It worked out pretty well. I've always had an interest in computers and IT, so it was a good degree in the end.
So you've kind of 13 years of your life. You then spent.
Yeah, that's why my accent's so messed up. It's now like half England, half Ohio.
Well, some people by that age, they will have a fixed accent and they won't change. And then other people kind of will adapt and they'll pick up different nuances. But I mean, 13 years is a long time. So how many years were you then at college? 4 years, and then you then got a job out there?
So I did 4 years, which was my undergrad degree, and you can only play for 4 years. So that put me in 2009, and I decided I was going to try and stay in America and work, but it was recession time, and there was no jobs for American citizens, let alone people who needed work visas. So I carried on and did my master's. You can be a graduate assistant in the US. So while you're getting your master's degree, you work at the university basically, and that covers some of your tuition. So I worked for the College of Business in their IT department, basically doing some website stuff, some computer lab stuff while I did my master's. Then in 2011, I just applied for any IT job I could find. But obviously I needed a work visa, so it was hard to get a job in the States with that. And I stumbled across a company that was hiring a database administrator, and I had taken like 2 database classes, and I was like just applying for whatever I could, trying to interview for stuff, and they called me back. I had like a week before my visa was done, and I'd have to leave. And they called and offered me this job as a database administrator, and I was like, yeah, sure, like I'll try it. So that was 2011. Now we're 9 years on, and I'm still doing it and loving it. So I definitely tripped into that accidental DBA role, but
that sounds like a real DBA role. That doesn't sound accidental. You might have fallen into the job, but
that's true.
Yeah,
it was a DBA role that I accidentally got into because
you needed a job to stay in the country.
Yeah, right.
So what were you then looking after? SQL servers, Oracle?
Yeah, we had SQL Server. It was a SQL Server estate for a telecommunications company, and they had everything. Like, it was the best environment to learn in. They had all versions of SQL Server. They had transactional replication. They had failover clusters, like everything, SSIS. It was a really great place to learn a lot about databases and SQL Server fast. So,
and now you come back to good old Blighty, but why?
Yeah, I don't know. I blame my wife. So she is American. She's from Ohio. And when maybe like a couple years ago, we visited the UK for the first time, right? And she loved it, had a great time. We were here for Christmas. Came back again for my brother's wedding. And I think every time we came back, she just got more of an idea that we could move here and have a good time and visit Europe and travel. And so
Europe. What a joker.
Yeah. Remember those days where we could travel? But yeah.
Well, as soon as we're well enough, we're not going to be able to travel to Europe without having some sort of visa now.
Yeah. Yeah, so it worked out really well. But no, I actually saw a random tweet online one day from John Martin, who was building this team in Southampton. And it was just one of those days where we've been talking about it and thinking about how we would even try and do that, how we would even move. We owned a house in the US. We had 2 cats. Our whole lives were over there, you know. So we saw this tweet and I was like, I'll just message him and find out more. And then it turned out to be a really great opportunity that I didn't want to pass up. And so yeah, we moved back in January, and we managed one trip to Spain, I think. Which was awesome. We saw Madrid and Barcelona, came back, and then within a few weeks we were locked down. So
I think John Martin has a lot to answer for. I think he got me my first consulting gig.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, all right, the first contracting gig. Avis. You can mention names. It doesn't matter. We're not sponsored by them. We can say it's on your CV.
So.
Yeah.
True.
It's on LinkedIn. People can find out if they're really nosy. So,
it's true.
So what do you do now? I mean, so you look after, you said SQL Server, PowerShell. You look like you're quite involved in like DBA tools and maybe DBA checks. I've seen you kind of help. I saw some tweets from you about PowerShell Southampton. Yeah.
So there's actually a couple sessions coming up remote. Starting again, I think next week. Next Wednesday is the first session. So Adam Cook has taken over the group and is trying to, with COVID and everything going online, it kind of fell away. So we have a session next Wednesday, July 20th. Oh, that's not today. It was supposed to be today and it got moved to next week. Or maybe it got moved to today. Who knows? Maybe it's today, right now. But there's another one. There's another one in August with Rob doing Jupyter notebooks. So there'll be kind of a monthly cadence now for sessions, which should be good.
When you say Rob, you mean Rob Sewell, don't you?
Oh yeah,
Rob
the beard.
Rob, he gets around Sewell. That's who you mean, right? Yeah. Sure. Okay.
Yep, Rob with the beard.
Yeah, DBA with a bear.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think he mentions that in his recent talks, but in his old talks, he used to talk about DBA with a bear.
You know, I saw one not too long ago, and that was the first time I'd heard that story because I've probably only seen his sessions for maybe a few years, but I hadn't heard that story before. So he has said it recently, at least once. But yeah.
So and I saw that you'd presented at Light Up virtual conference. Do you want to tell me about that? What it was for? Because I only found out about it like a few days before it happened.
Yeah, so actually, Irish sent me a message like 24 hours before the call for speakers ended and was like, "You should submit for this." I was like, "Oh, it ends tomorrow." So I just threw my DBA tools life hack session in there, which is one of my favorite ones to give anyway. And yeah, it was 24 hours of Microsoft technology talks across all kinds of products and domains, raising money for UNICEF and the COVID Relief Fund. So I did not look up how much money they raised, but it is out there on the Light Up website. And all of the sessions, I believe, will be out there somewhere on the YouTube channel. So yeah, it was a really great event. It was remote, right? So it's still weird to do remote conferences, but it was fun.
So have you done many remote and many in person?
Recently I've only done remote, but I did Data Weekender, which was a Saturday speaker conference with the camper van logo.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. And I did Group by the Europe Day recently,
Okay.
which was fun. No in-person speaking recently. I did speak at the Southampton data platform group before the lockdown. So
are they on that business estate in Eastleigh?
No,
they moved.
They're at a science park.
Yeah, the science park. That's it.
Yeah. So
yeah. I did go down and visit them at the science park. I did go down. I mean, that was quite a while ago. But we used to have it at the little church. It used to be a church group.
Yeah, so that's where the PowerShell one is, I think, or where it was when we were in person, on the avenue, right?
Yeah. So I got that from the guys who ran like VBug or some other the .NET user group were running from the church, and so we went through 3 rooms, getting bigger and bigger.
Okay, nice.
We started in the small room, which was a coffee room, which is there were like 6 people. Like that was the first one, 6 of us all getting together.
Start from somewhere.
Yeah. I think John Martin spoke at the he spoke at the 3rd one, I think. Yeah, I think that was his first speaking gig.
Really?
So yeah, I have to take some credit for that. Do I?
Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah.
I can basically take the entire credit for his entire career just because of that one moment where I gave him his break.
Everyone needs that break, right?
yeah, I think I can do that.
I'll let him know.
Yeah, no, he knows. He knows he owes me. He knows he owes me. Even if he doesn't know he owes me, he knows he owes me. That's all right. Yeah. So I was going to mention nice bike because I saw a picture of your Specialized bike.
Boy.
Yeah. And it's an amazing black color.
Yeah, it is. And so I had a really great blue and green Specialized bike in the States, and we literally sold everything but a few things to move to England, so I had to sell it, which was really sad. But my wife said I could buy a new bike for my birthday. She didn't give me a price limit, so.
Could you not have shipped it back? Was it too expensive to ship?
It was a few years old, and by the time I bought a box to put it in and then paid the shipping price, I decided it would probably be better to take the money and put it into a new bike. But it was close. It was a close call on whether we moved the cats or my bike, so I'm just joking.
Oh my god! Did they have quarantine? They must.
No, they didn't. There's just like this ridiculous process you have to follow of getting them microchipped and getting them rabies shots and getting them pet passports and then taking them to a special vet to get a health certificate and then taking them somewhere else. And yeah, it definitely cost us more to move them than it did for our plane tickets. So
no way.
If you're thinking about moving your animals,
you can just bury them. I mean,
you know what? So we found out how much it was going to cost to move them, and my wife looked at me and she was like, "That's a lot of money," and I was like, "No, we're taking them. I don't care." So it's my fault. It's my fault the cats came.
How long have you had the cats?
I'm not really a cat person. They've won me over, but they came with my wife, so she's had them 7 years, I think.
Oh, all right.
So they got plenty of years. They could live to be like 20. We could live forever.
Well, I was just thinking, you after a couple of years, you're attached, but maybe in the first 3-6 months, you sort of go, well, could have them put down. It'd be a bit cheaper than having to move them. Get new cats in England. I mean,
yeah.
Or just let them go. What? Let them free them.
Be free.
Yeah.
No, they're here, loving their English life. So,
I mean, I presume they have Ohio accents. Your cats.
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, you can hear my accent. Who knows what theirs is? I've probably tainted their accent.
Well, I did hear something about cats having. Well, was it cows or sheep having different accents?
Really?
No, yeah. I mean,
did you read this on the internet?
Yeah. I think it was on like
it's probably true.
The Register or something.
Oh yeah, good source.
Yeah. So you were kind of a sport. I mean, obviously you must be quite sporty. If you were, do you still play football then?
No, I retired. My senior year, I broke my collarbone and had a metal plate put in, so I didn't really play again competitively after that. So,
ouch.
Yeah, bad times.
Well, at least you didn't kind of like mash up your legs.
Yeah, yeah, somewhat.
Well, really, tendons and Achilles heels and all that stuff goes, and knee. Yeah, stress.
My knees and my ankles. They definitely make some noises when I wake up in the morning, but we're mostly intact. I mean, we're doing okay. But the good thing is I can still ride my bike, which we...
Yeah, low impact.
Yeah. So I took it. I just got it like a month ago, maybe. So been getting used to it and getting it fitted. Because obviously I bought it online, which is the first time I bought a nice bike online. And then, I mean, it came all put together, but obviously the fitting to saddle height and angle and all these things I didn't even realize were a thing, because the last bike I bought, the bike shop fitted it, right? They changed everything for you. So
you can have them you can be laser measured. So to get the exact right height, to get the best, because I think your knee is only supposed to get to a certain height or something. Otherwise, it's not as efficient when it's pushing down. And if you like
how far over the pedal it should be versus like behind the pedal. Yeah. So, I didn't realize it was quite that complicated until I wanted to move my saddle a little bit. I was like, oh man, so many options.
If you spend that much on a bike, I presume you can just go and have it fitted. You can go and be kind of fitted afterwards, because if you went and got a new saddle, you would have had to have had that done.
Right. Yeah, I think I could take it to like a local bike shop, and they usually do like a fitting service. So. Okay.
All right. I don't really know that much about bikes.
I'm not really going anywhere at the moment, though.
I mean, well, are you not cycling at the moment?
Yeah, I'm cycling. Yeah, just not going to shops and things that I can avoid.
Yeah, I guess. So we were talking before we went online. I used to live down in Southampton and then ride to Eastleigh, and you live in Eastleigh and work in Southampton, and that's quite a nice. I think my journey was only like 5 miles.
Okay.
But it's uphill and then downhill, and then then it's completely uphill. It's quite a big gradient.
Is it? I haven't tested that out yet. I was thinking that one day I should just ride like from home to the office and back again, but I haven't tested it out yet.
I don't know which way you would go, but there's a bit from the Asda, and then the way you would drive to Southampton, and you go up that road. Mm-hmm. That's much steeper on a bike than you realise.
I think every road is. You'll like drive a route and you're like, oh, this isn't too bad, and then you get on your bike and you're like, man, why is this so steep? Well, I've been playing Komoot, which is like it's a app that has all these footpaths and cycleways maps on it, so you can plan your routes, right? So I planned one the other night. It was maybe like 12 miles from my house, and I didn't really look at the elevation. Like I saw it was a little hilly towards the end, but not that bad. I turned off this road up this single lane track, so that, of course there's a car behind me. I pulled over and let it go because this hill was ridiculous. It was like a mountain. I was convinced I was not going to get up it and I have to get off this nice bike and walk to the top of the hill, but I made it just.
But then,
way again.
But then going back down is pretty awesome.
Go that way, but yeah, there was some good downhills.
Yeah,
worth it.
Yeah, I mean, you've always, unless you've got some really hard turns and you can't build up and use all that momentum, all that potential energy you built up by going uphill, turning it back into kinetic energy. I remember GCSE maths.
Wow, that's good. Yeah.
That's
science right there.
Yeah. Oh, I feel so patronised, but thank you. I mean, at least thank you.
I'm impressed. I like it.
I haven't got out on my bike for a very long time.
No.
I have a problem. I get angry at car drivers who go too close.
Yep.
I have a little rage problem. Now,
you like to tell them about it?
I mean, let's just say, right. So I've had a few incidents. I've been knocked off a couple of times by cars not being careful. Someone in a neck brace who drove into a cycle lane and knocked me off. Okay. They were driving in the cycle lane, and then they basically just crushed my bike, and so I had to come off. I did throw the bike at the car. That did make me feel a little bit better. And when I was younger, I did chase a car down that cut me up, and I managed to get in front of it. And then I just stopped the bike in the road in front of it with all the traffic and just gesticulated violently. And I may have hit cars on the roof. So if a car gets too close, I will slam the window and the side of the car. Because if I can do this on the top of I can't really see it. I mean, if I can reach out my arm and hit the top of the car, it's too close.
Right.
And that has got me in trouble before because people don't like their cars being banged.
Yeah.
I did have someone chase me. And then that's when I admitted I had a problem, when someone had chased me down. Yes, it wasn't clever, wasn't big, wasn't hard.
Maybe just the turbo trainer for you.
Yeah, yes. So I have tried getting back, but I can just feel the adrenaline build up, and I can just feel that kind of like, I mean, what was it? How was it in Ohio riding your bike? Did people give you space? Were they careful?
Not really. It depended which roads you went on. Like, sometimes it felt like people gave you plenty of space, because obviously a lot of the roads are huge there, right? Like multiple lanes in each direction just for a small road. But yeah, it wasn't bad. I never had any, I never got knocked off, touch wood. That doesn't happen, but I never had any really close calls. I did have one person who they were in front of me at a traffic light and were trying to wave me on to go around them, undercut them and go through the traffic light ahead of them. But you're already in front of me. I'm not going to go fast enough for this. You should probably go. But yeah, I never had any major issues. So. Well.
I don't know what the avenue is like now, but the avenue is very small and used to get 2 lanes of cars, and so there was never enough room but people would try and overtake the bike. So I would drive in the middle of one of the lanes, because if you drove to the left, people thought they could try and get round, and there just wasn't enough room. And then people would get really upset that you were in the middle of the lane, stopping them from basically driving too close because they had to pull out.
Trying to squeeze around.
Yeah. So, and then they would have to actually overtake like a proper car should, giving you the full car width, and then they would get quite upset. But of course.
Yeah. So I think there are cycle lanes on the avenue now. I think so. I haven't ridden down there yet, but
there were some on the pavement.
Oh, I do not like those. I was just talking to my dad about that this weekend, because I went out for a ride and I was riding on the road, and then a cycle lane appeared and I was like, oh, great. And then it put me onto the pavement for the roundabout. So then I have to stop to cross the road of the roundabout because I'm on the pavement. And then I got to the other side of the roundabout, and then it just popped you back onto the road. That would have been easier for me to stay on the road.
Yeah. I mean, it might be safer for children or whatever, and people who aren't familiar with roundabouts.
Yeah.
Better to stay safe than dead or squished.
For sure.
Yeah, because being under a car isn't fun. No.
Yeah, I can imagine.
All right. It's a daft question. Helmet or no helmet?
Oh, helmet for sure. I've banged my head enough times. I can't risk any more brain cells.
Oh, okay. All right. I remember reading a study. Now, obviously, this was a few years ago and could have been completely poo-pooed. Even that's a good word by now. That when you had a really big helmet on, that when you fall, you kind of jar your neck because of the helmet, and it was they couldn't work out that if it was a serious crash, the helmet would save your life, no question. But in a smaller crash, the helmet gave you more neck problems. Yeah. So if you were going in for a really hard crash, then certainly a helmet.
Pop it on.
Yeah. But if you were going for light scrapes, then maybe not.
Okay.
I don't know. It's
usually when I go out, I aim for neither of those. So.
Oh, were you an off? No, well, what do you mean? I was thinking, how can you have
I aim for no crashes.
Well, I took that as, how can you have a helmet and not a helmet? Were you just carrying it on the handlebars?
Yes. I wear my helmet on my handlebars. That's not how you do it.
It is when you've finished a long cycle and you take your helmet off, so your sweat can sort of like come off you and your hair can dry. Am I the only person who does that? You don't get back home and then take your helmet. You know, when you're like 30 meters, 100 meters from your house, you take your helmet off. No.
I can't say I do. No. I get my feet safely back on the ground, then I take my helmet off.
Oh, do you know? I didn't see. Have you got cleats?
No, they're actually pedals with toe clips. Yeah. The cleats, they scare me a little bit. I imagine I will forget that my feet are attached and just kind of bloop.
Yeah, I've never tried cleats. I've always had toe grips. But even those, you kind of, when you first have them, you try and pull your foot up, and then you just go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. No, yeah, I've had toe clips on my bike for as long as I can remember. I like those a lot. Not sure I would switch to cleats.
Oh, okay. I'm going to interrupt our conversation with a question about with our standard question.
Okay.
Well, one of the standard questions. I'm going to do them both because why not? What's your favourite album?
Favourite album?
Yeah. Were you expecting the other question? Oh, yeah. Were you expecting the other question? I
was expecting the other question.
Okay. Go on.
So, albums I'm not very good at. Like, I like to just choose like an artist or a song and then put it on like the radio station functionality where it will play like songs like that. So I will say one of my favorites at the moment is to choose like the Arctic Monkeys and then have it make a radio station from that band.
Okay. I
don't know that I have a favorite album.
I can't remember who said it now, but someone said they just put stuff on like playlists and they just put them on shuffle because they don't deserve to have it in track order.
Right.
Because I'm old enough to remember a track order. So my wife said that the background looked too ugly and plain, so I shoved some albums up there. And Axel F isn't mine, actually. That's hers. Beverly Hills Cop? No? Anyone? No? Come on, you must have seen Beverly Hills. No. Okay, yeah, you were young, aren't you? Oh God, I forgot about that.
I'm also just really bad with movies. So one of our lockdown goals was to watch more movies. So we watched. Well, we had started this before the lockdown, but really got through them in the lockdown. Was the Marvel movies, and then Erin Stellato. Do you know her?
Yes.
She's one of my SQL people from Ohio. She works for SQL Skills. She sent like 10 or 15 movies in a tweet of like movies you have to see. So we have been working through those, but I can't say that.
What's in that?
Ooh. There was a ton on there. There was some of them were sports related. So like now I don't remember the names of any of them.
Like dodgeball? duck, dive, dip,
No, they were older. They
duck
were
and
like
dodge.
classics. So, Cutting Edge was one that was like about an ice hockey player and a figure skater, and then the women's baseball movie, A League of Their Own, it's called something like that.
Yeah, the one with Madonna.
Movies like that. Yeah. We were watching it and we were like, is that Madonna?
Oh, yeah, you're too young. Oh.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, just a daft question: did you watch the Marvel movies in chronological order or in release order?
Yeah, we did.
Well, which one?
We watched them in chronological order mostly. So I found this listing of them being in chronological order, and then we got 15 movies in, and then we got to Captain Marvel, which seemed to really should have been right at the beginning, maybe. So
I think, isn't it Captain America and then Captain Marvel?
In the very beginning? Yeah, that would make sense.
America is set in the Second World War. Yeah, Second World War, and then Captain Marvel was in the 80s. I saw a really nice. Well, it wasn't really nice, but it was an interesting comparison between Captain America, the first movie, and Captain Marvel. How effectively they're the same movie. They've got pretty much the same sort of tropes, and how it would have been better if Captain Marvel was told in chronological order rather than in the flashback stuff.
Okay, yeah.
But that's just someone going, I like that movie, but I think it would have been better if they did this. Well, no, but this is the movie you've got, right?
Yeah, no, I like that. Actually, I enjoyed all of the Marvel movies. They were all really good. I can't remember watching any of them and being like, meh.
Yeah, I don't know which one. Did you? We recently watched Thor. I mean, I've seen them all, but my wife and I watched Thor Ragnarok, just because it's daftness and it's kind of. But there's a really special extra on the DVD on the download on Apple, where Jeff Gold. I guess you didn't watch this, but between one of the Avengers films and which one is it? Thor disappears. Thor's which is it? Between Thor isn't mentioned in one of the films or something. I'm trying to remember what it is. He's kind of left out. So that they have this thing where Thor moves in with a guy called Richard or something. He becomes his housemate. So there's Mjolnir sort of sitting on the dining room table, and this guy's teaching Thor how to use the internet. Because Thor, because Tony hasn't contacted Thor, and obviously because Thor doesn't have a phone. And then there's another version of it with the Grand Master, Jeff Goldblum's character, moving in with the same guy after Thor moves out, and it's just really weird. If you like Jeff Goldblum, which you're probably too young to remember The Fly and the other movies he's in, but you've seen Jurassic Park.
Yeah. We literally just watched those last year, maybe the year before.
Okay, all right.
That's how bad we are at movies. I can sit and watch 6 episodes of Parks and Rec, but then putting a movie on is too much of a commitment.
Well, Parks and Rec, what is that? 30 minutes?
Yeah. They're 22 minutes though, without the commercials.
They are.
Without the adverts, sorry.
I think I've got somewhere to the season 4. Okay. Somewhere. I can't remember the names of any of the characters. But
so good.
The woman who's really awkward, is it Audrey something?
Yep.
I mean, she's just kind of amazing and insane character. I mean, it's just it's.
There's so many great characters in that. The main characters are great, but then all of the extra characters that are in that office is just fantastic.
So would you consider Ron Swanson a main character?
Yeah, I think I would.
Because he's not always in it. He's sort of on the periphery.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I got to the bit when she becomes Ron's assistant. Because she was an intern, wasn't she?
Who, Audrey or?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was, and then she got hired in, and then I took over a different section, I think, right, with the animal stuff.
I'm not listening. I haven't got that far. I'm not listening.
Oh, spoiler alert! She didn't do any of that.
All right. So I'm going to ask you a question I should have been asking everybody, but I haven't. What's your favourite episode from season 1 of Geeks on Screens with Coffee?
So I will say, I'm going to say Rob's, the beard, because he was juggling in it, and I didn't know he could juggle, but I can also juggle. So I think one day we should meet up and try and juggle between us.
You can't say you can juggle, and I mean, you didn't even see that. I just threw my pencil down. You can't say you can juggle and then not juggle.
I know, but I don't have any. I don't have anything.
All right. Are you wearing shoes?
No.
Oh, sorry. I just realised that. That was an odd question, isn't it? Why is he asking? Because you can juggle your shoes.
Yeah. No, I don't even have socks on. This work from home thing has got a bit ridiculous. I will find something to juggle, make a video, and send it to you.
No, because you can. So, I used to have a kind of a thing of juggling odd-shaped objects.
Okay.
So kind of,
children or babies. Just that one time. Yeah.
I vowed never to talk about it. And what's your favourite cheese? Yeah, you knew it was coming, didn't you?
I did, and you know what? Someone asked me this when I was doing the Data Weekender session. At the end, someone put that in the chat, and I said cheddar. And then I was talking about it with my wife and my mum later on, and they were both like, "That's not your favorite cheese. Your favorite cheese is Port Salut." I was like, "That is my favorite cheese. Ever since I was a kid, that's been my favorite cheese." But then in the moment, I said cheddar. So I'm excited that I got a second chance at that question. Port Salut.
I can't believe you let Port Salut down when you were under pressure.
I know. Under pressure, and I went with cheddar, which I do love. You can't beat a good cheddar, but Port Salut is an excellent cheese.
I mean, you can beat a good cheddar. I'm sure you can.
What's your favorite cheese?
I don't do cheese because vegan cheese is a crime against humanity.
Yeah.
I did try a vegan, like a spreadable cheese, like a cream cheese, but it just tasted a bit coconutty. What did I have? It had some oil in it, and I just, in my head, I just went, "Oh, it's got that oil in it. Well, it must taste of that." And then every time I had it, I just went,
And your question is, what's your favorite cheese? But you don't actually do cheese.
Yeah, well, it's not my question, and it's Mickey Robson's question that I then stole. In fact, if you were an avid fan, which you're clearly not an avid fan, you'd realise that Mickey Robson mentioned it, said, "Ask this question," and I went, "Oh, you're the funniest man in the world." And I go, "Oh." And then when we met up, I went, using that Richard Herring question was great. And he went, "Who's Richard Herring?" I said, "I thought you were you took that question off a comedian." No, it's just his standard question. And okay.
So you did just steal it from him.
No, and I thought it was like a really clever in-joke, but no, he just wanted to know what people's favourite cheeses is, because he's obsessed and he's wrong in the head. So and on the mention of Richard Herring, so 2 more questions. This is how we wrap up, or generally this is how we wrap up. You get the Richard Herring emergency question from the Richard Herring emergency question book. This is like volume 1, 1001 questions. You pick a number between 1 and 1001 and we read it from the book. But first of all, are you aware of the podfather Richard Herring?
I am not.
No. Now, you've probably got more reason not to know who he is. All the other people I've had on the podcast 40 something people have let me down. But
I missed like a good chunk of English life there. So if it fell into 2005 to 2019, no.
You would no. It's a bit like some of the older references I mentioned. You're too young to get some of those references, like Fist of Fun and a few other things you just wouldn't have seen. And kind of if you're not into your sort of comedy or podcasts, you might not be aware of him. But so pick a number between 1 and 1001.
7.
Any reason why 7?
Oh, that's my favorite number. That's the number I played in football.
Okay. You can't have 7 because don't know whether you can see that.
What is your favorite cheese?
Yeah.
Look at that. All right. How about 77?
That's like double your favorite number. So we're gonna do 77 and 777 because
man. Okay.
I'm
double
just
the fun. So then we did 7, 77, and 777.
No, we're not going to do 77. It's not particularly family friendly. I mean, you can read it because the problem is if I read a question out like that, you would just think I was some sort of creepy perv. But don't know whether you can see. Oh, it's on the other side, so I need to put.
Yep. And I'm not allowed to answer that question.
Of course you are. Without referring to the question itself.
I would never on a family-friendly podcast.
It is. It is a family show. Sorry, you've missed that, and I've just brought up the family show graphic, which I stole from someone else. I have no original ideas, just so you know. I mean, you can answer the question.
You're bringing it together. That's the original bit. Merging them all together.
I don't think stealing. I mean, it works in development, taking other people's ideas, merging them together into a new thing. But
yeah, it's like open source, right? You're doing open source creativity.
Yeah, until I get sued or a cease and desist letter came in. All right, so let's do 777.
Third time lucky.
Okay, all right. Do you have a family Christmas tradition that you consider normal, but then discovered nobody else does it?
I have no idea. I think all my family Christmas traditions are normal.
You don't do anything strange, like open like a present like before, or you play like a particular game on Christmas charades or something, which is really weird.
No. If I guess when we were kids, we were allowed to open a present first thing, and then had to wait till the grandparents came over at lunchtime for the rest of the presents. But
you poor creatures.
I know you had to pick wisely, right? Like, quite a decision.
We've
These
got.
days we'll play cards or something. Nothing too crazy.
We've started this thing of kind of having a present on Christmas Eve, which I think no, just open up Christmas Day. That's the whole point of it. In fact, open them on Boxing Day because that's the day you're supposed to open them on. I'm gonna. So I normally prefix this. So I like the person I'm talking to nominate someone else for me to talk to, and then maybe do a mini introduction so I don't have to do it and look creepy. So who do you think would enjoy coming on and having a bit of a chat?
I will nominate. I had a bit of a think about this. I would say, if you haven't already had her, try and get Kendra Little to come on, because she also just moved from America to England. She's living in Cambridge, working for Redgate, has 2 cute dogs, all great things.
Yep, I have asked her, but she doesn't follow me on Twitter. So I've tried on LinkedIn, but no one looks at messages on LinkedIn because they're just full of.
That's true. Yeah. I thought you were going to offer me a job.
Yeah.
I will tag her then. And
Yes.
say that I nominated her.
Yes. And that I'm not some sort of creepy, disgusting old man. I mean, I am, yes, but
the creepy guy from LinkedIn.
Yeah. the one who keeps sending you messages every 2 days.
Yeah. I'll tell her to ask about question 77.
No. I think we've only hit a couple of questions, which, I'd feel uncomfortable asking. I'd feel uncomfortable asking anybody that. But But if you do watch or listen to the Richard Herring podcast, he does ask that question of people.
I'll look it up.
And that I think most people say yes, it would put them off, and they wouldn't like it. But that's a whole different discussion for a whole different day.
True.
So thank you, Jess, for spending the evening with me, and you've been great. And are you presenting anything, or where can people find more Jess stuff going on? You got a blog? Follow you on Twitter?
Yeah. JessPomfret.com is the blog. jpomfret is the Twitter handle. I have no idea what it is on LinkedIn. Actually, it might be jpomfret or jpomfret7, which is what I use when jpomfret's gone. But yeah, I'm spend too much time on Twitter, so that's a good place to find me. I don't have anything coming up at the moment. I'm hoping to present at Bits in September if we're back to being allowed to see people, but we'll see.
Yes, and I'll see you at Bits, and hopefully you'll have a nice costume sorted out.
Yeah, I've got extra time this time, right? So maybe I could juggle. It's a circus theme, right?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did consider bringing some clubs. I've got some clubs, some rings. I've got Diablo, Devil's. I did think of practicing with the devil sticks.
Nice.
Sorry, I quite like circuses.
This is a sneak fact before I go. When I was in secondary school, we had like a club where we could do circus things like the Diablo and the devil stick and juggling. That's where I learned to juggle. So
are you a dab hand with circus skills?
Yeah, it's been a few years, but I can still juggle. So that's
all right,
probably about it. But
so do we have to bring a load of juggling balls to sequel bits? I reckon they'll just get thrown at people. Like when people are walking around on the Saturday like zombies, then
pelted in the head.
Yeah, they'll just have like a hit in the side of the head with a juggling ball. It won't be pretty.
It's probably fine. Keep them awake. Keep them on their toes.
Yeah, no, on Saturday, yeah. Especially if it's 5? Is it 5 days long this year? If it's going to happen, it's 5 days. Have you been you've been to Bits before?
I have not. No, this was going to be my first time. Yeah.
It is good. It is. Yeah, and if you're there for the whole time, by Saturday you're absolutely exhausted. So you're just wandering around, especially after the party the night before. People stay out too late, they drink too much, and even if you don't, you kind of if you've been there for a few days, you're just knackered. So people are walking around like zombies. Yeah. In fact, we should talk to Alex Whittles. Maybe that could be the next theme.
There you go.
Zombies.
Yeah, then it just blend in. No one would notice.
Yeah.
Like, it's part of the costume.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Jess, and I'll hopefully see you at Sequel Bits. If not, see you online, and maybe look at your session at Light Up when it comes online.
Yeah. I'll try and link to it from Twitter when I get hold of that. But thanks for having me.
All right. Cool. All right. We're gonna do the showbiz goodbye. All right.